All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The struggles of James Franklin against top college football teams in the country continues. This past Saturday night, then third-ranked Penn State welcomed sixth-ranked Oregon to Happy Valley for an always intense whiteout game. And just like it has been far too often for Penn State on Franklin's watch, they came up short yet again in the big game. Now, only Joe Paterno has won more games at Penn State than Franklin has, but he's now 4-21 versus top 10 opponents. You look at Saturday night's game, Penn State had that furious fourth quarter comeback as they were down 17-3 to force overtime, and clearly they came up short in the overtime frame as they were once again done in by the Franklin curse. Now, the Nittany Lions did do some good things against Oregon, but at the end of the night, they were once again on the wrong side of a score versus a top tier team. The Fire Franklin chants were echoing throughout Beaver Stadium on Saturday night, and in his post-game presser, Franklin owned the loss. But of course, if you're a Penn State backer, you don't want to hear him owning the loss. You want to see this team getting those big time victories. Now, over the last 3 years alone, okay, James Franklin is 34-8. He's got a pair of New Year's Six bowl game appearances, along with getting the Nittany Lions to the semis of the college football playoff last year. The Nittany Lions will once again win 10 games this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're also going to be in the conversation to make the playoff, okay? But there's always going to be that yeah, but that's attached to James Franklin because yeah, he's getting the wins, but yeah, but it's not against the elite teams that's going to help Penn State take that next step up to really, really be serious about being national championship contenders. So when you see all of this, you ask yourself, why has Franklin's teams continued to struggle in these moments? I've talked about it in the past. You look at Franklin, he continues to recruit elite defensive players. And just look at the guys that he's sending to the National Football League. Just in recent years, Micah Parsons and Abdul Carter, just to name a few. Okay. Quality running backs, and it's one of those where I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Nittany Lions continue to come up short in regards to finding those playmaking and difference making receivers and quarterbacks. That's a big part of it right there. Okay, you look at it, another reason, in my opinion, why Penn State struggles in these big games, it's like Franklin coaches tight. And I know, he's going for it more on fourth down, trying to open things up. But at the end of the day, it's like I feel his tightness, you know, reflects on his team and how they play. You look at this game right here that they just lost this past Saturday to Oregon. In some cases, it was tailor-made for Penn State to win. You have a top 10 program, still a newbie. I know that they're the defending Big Ten champs, but still a newbie, coming all the way east to your home, your backyard on a Saturday night. But when it was all said and done, you had the young quarterback, Dante Moore, just making his fifth college start. He looked unfazed in this one, and Penn State could not rattle him. You're talking about Dante Moore, who outplayed Drew Aller in this game for the matter. He was 29 of 39 passing for 248, three TDs, and no picks. Drew Aller, 14 of 25 passing for a buck 37 with two TDs and a pick. The biggest thing for me, Oregon outgained Penn State total yardage by about a buck 50. The Ducks had 424 to just 276 for the Nittany Lions, and this proud Penn State defense gave up 176 yards on the ground. But nonetheless, in these big games, Penn State has yet to really go out there and make those impact plays early, put the opponent in a bad situation and just basically they have been unable to dictate things. They've been dictated against. And it's kind of like gotten to the point, you know what? I feel like the opponents of Penn State in these situations know, you know what? This team is going to be tight. They're not going to get it done. Okay. And it shows on a Saturday to Saturday basis. For me, Franklin, in my opinion, is this era's Big Ten football version of John Cooper. And if anybody remembers John Cooper's time as the head coach at Ohio State University, it was one of those tremendous coach throughout the decade of the 90s, won numerous games. Ohio State had a consistent top 10 program. The biggest problem, which led to John Cooper's dismissal at Ohio State, was the fact that he could not beat Michigan. Great coach, but you know what? Always came up short in that big game for what it's worth. So some people are saying, and you of course like getting back to the fire Franklin chants and stuff like that, should Penn State move on from Franklin? I mean, he's 104 and 43 overall, 64 and 34 in the Big Ten, but of course, a lot of those conference wins are coming up on the also rans, if you will, of the Big Ten. A lot of losses against Ohio State, a lot of losses against Michigan, and now you have a loss against Oregon. These are the things, or two losses rather, if you go back to last year's Big Ten championship game, and then even in the playoff. Yeah, you beat SMU at home. Okay, you beat Boise, who was a Mountain West champion in the Fiesta Bowl, but then you came up short against Notre Dame in the semis. So these are the things that are going to consistently linger over James Franklin. He still had a ton of years with a ton of money attached to his contract. So I think, you know what? Yeah, the Nittany Lions are struggling. They continue to struggle in the big games under him. But barring something unforeseen, I don't see the school moving on for him. I could totally be wrong there. But at the end of the day, he makes a ton of money for the school. And like I said, it's really, even with this loss right here, it's really still set up for Penn State to make a run at the college football playoff. You look at it, they're a big time favorite this Saturday on the road at the Rose Bowl against UCLA. They've got Northwestern after that the following week. Then they're in Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes on the 18th. They're going to be favored in that game. All right. And then the 1st of November, a game that a lot of people are circling. Penn State is going to be at Ohio State, and the way Ohio State is looking right now, they're once again that's going to be 4-22 as far as Franklin's record is going against top 10 programs. So when it's all said and done, I mean, Penn State does welcome Indiana to Happy Valley on the 8th of November, another game to earmark. But nonetheless, I think when it's all said and done, at the very least, Penn State's going to be 10-2 when the regular season's over with. And if you go 10-2 in the Big Ten, 7-2 overall in the league or better, more than likely you are going to get selected to the college football playoff. So again, more money for the school. Let's see how things works out for them there. But nonetheless, this problem is not going away until it gets rectified. And if Franklin can't do it at some point, I do think the school would move on from him, but I don't see that point being right now. I don't know what it's going to take, but nonetheless, you do have a frustrated fan base, that supports this Penn State program because it's the same old song from the Penn State Nittany Lions. They come up short in these situations, and I think again, like I said before, you get the impact players defensively, you get the impact running backs, but you're not getting those game-changing quarterbacks. You're not getting the game-changing wide receiving playmakers. That is something that I think is holding Penn State's program back. Franklin's going to get a ton of credit for what he did to return this program around after the sanctions and got them back, on the national stage. But he still cannot get this program over that hump. Another big moment for Penn State and James Franklin to make an impact. And of course, they came up short again. And he's going to keep winning games. But against the likes of Ohio State, against the likes of Oregon and other elite programs, Penn State continuously comes short. And at the end of the day, it's a head scratcher. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw in this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. It's greatly appreciated. And folks, we're right there. Just four more, okay, to the magical number of 1,000. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, be sure to check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, I will give you the follow in return. And the same goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, be sure to check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.